Hi y'all, welcome back to the Spinstress stream. I am Stephanie and I run the Spinstress in the Making channel. And I haven't talked to you guys for a couple of months now. I think the last update was in April. And so now it's mainly covering what happened in later April, May, June, and now the start of July. It is July 6th today. So I hope everybody survived the fireworks extravaganza. Hopefully your pets are recovering, and hopefully you had a good 4th compared to whatever else is happening in this world right now. Hopefully you had a good day and rest from everything that's going on. But anyway, quick updates for life. So I'm working in a job where the company was kind of going through some changes. So luckily I just found out last month that I still have a job. So that's something that's kind of been keeping me really busy. That's one of the reasons I haven't been able to update you guys as often as I would like, which is, life happens and nobody should apologize for life happening. And then also my family came out to my new city that I'm living in, and we decided to go explore kind of the Midwest area a little bit. They had never really been up in this area, and so they wanted to kind of hit places such as like national parks and state parks and things like that. So some of the things that we did in June, we went to Teddy Roosevelt National Park, the North and South Rim. North Rim is more for like the geography, and then the South Rim is more known for animal sightings. We saw tons of bison, mountain goats, mountain sheep, prairie dogs, tons of prairie dogs, deer, and on the whole trip we didn't see any elk, which is kind of interesting. Wild donkeys, wild horses, just like a good mixture of animals for sure. But besides Roosevelt, we went to Wyoming to go see Devil's Tower. We went to Custer State Park in South Dakota, Mount Rushmore, Crazy Horse, and the Badlands. So those are just some of the wonderful things that we did for the summer vacation that we had planned. You probably saw some of the photos at the beginning of this video, kind of just showing some of the sights that we saw. So there's that. Also, I feel like this episode is going to be very short on finished projects, just because for the last couple months I was trying to at least get some quilting done. Many of you know that besides knitting and spinning, I like to bake, I like to quilt and do other crafts, so sometimes I share those on here. So basically, either section that I showed up in, basically I have a quilt that I was supposed to finish last December for Christmas for my aunt and uncle. But I was moving during that time, so I'm hoping to get it done this Christmas. So basically, the last few months, I've been finishing up sewing the quilt blocks and then sewing those blocks all together. I wanted to get it done before going on the trip with my parents because we're hoping to stop at different quilt shops and maybe I could find some border fabric and binding fabric, which I did. So you've seen the picture up top. This will be the border fabric and this will be the binding fabric. It was kind of hard just finding something that would go with the fabric that my aunt and uncle chose, but that is that. So that's just some quick updates. Now we will actually get into my knitting projects. So for some of my finished projects, you will not be able to actually see the physical final objects because they have gone to their forever homes, hopefully. So the first thing that I finished was the Well Yoke Pullover by Yelena Malcolm, and it's the 12-month size. I used needles US 2 and 4 needles, which are the 2.75 and 3.5 millimeter needles. I used Plymouth yarn Dream Baby DK. So I used the colorways 101, which is white, 145, which is the blue, and 162, which is the green. And I believe it's completely synthetic. I can't remember if it's completely made out of polyamide, but it's completely synthetic, so you could throw it in the wash. no problem, which I think is what most parents want, especially with babies, is that they don't want to have to do extra care on a garment. They want, baby spit and everything gets on it. So basically that is something she can just throw in the wash without any really cares in the world, hopefully. It was a fun knit. I did kind of mess up a little bit here and there on the color work of the whales. So they are all different and varying, like the whales in the world. But they all basically look like whales, which is the good thing. So that was given back in April, early April, because her baby shower was in early April. My friend's baby shower was in early April. So that went off to its forever home. And then I had finished some vanilla socks for my sister. Many of you know my sister does not like wool in general. It just irritates her. It makes her itchy. So this was made out of the Regia cotton color Tutti Frutti #2. It is the Plum colorway. I didn't get any pictures of this finished project, but basically I do have the original sleeve, and if I show that really close, that's basically what the sock kind of looks like for y'all. But I think the only thing that I changed was that I believe I casted on about 60 stitches, used a size 0 US, which is a 2mm needle on that. And then every 4th stitch, I would put a purl every 3rd row. So it kind of had some slight ribbing details on the top of it. So that's the only thing that didn't make it a complete vanilla sock. It just gave it some texture. But that is made out of 72% cotton, 18% polyamide, and 10% polyester. So those are the 2 finished projects that I have for you guys. So we'll go on to my works in progress. All right, so my works in progress at this point are that I have actually casted on the Benthe sweater by Natasja Hornby. I decided to do the size small, which is the 37.5-inch chest measurement, and we use 4.5mm and 3.5mm needles, which are US 7 and 4s. So the yarn that I used in this is actually a fleece that I bought at Estes Park Wool Festival a couple years ago. I got it spun at a mill, and they made a 3-ply worsted weight yarn. There were some thick and thin areas of the yarn, but so far as I'm knitting it up, it doesn't seem to really affect it all that much. And then I also held along with it Big Little Yarn Co.'s Surrey Silk Lace in the colorway Tanuki, which I've explained it before, but she did like a Japanese monsters collection. And so this spirit is a spirit that haunts farmers if they're not, upkeeping their rice fields and things like that. It's kind of an interesting story. But it was really hard to find a indie dyed Surrey silk lace from her collection that would actually go with the natural color of the wool. It's kind of this, I'll pull it out. It is this light brown, as you can see, colorway. And it was just really hard to find something that would kind of not crazily, stick out from it. Like I wanted to complement it, and it just was an interesting fawn light brown colorway. But as you can see, there's some darker brown and green flecks in there and some light colors. So that, as I pull this out, is the Surrey silk lace colorway from Big Little Yarn Co. So you can see it's got greens and browns and kind of white colorways in it. So it kind of blends in with, this is the woolen worsted spun wool that I got processed. And this is a MerinoXColumbia cross, I believe. Very, very soft. Like I would say it's probably in the I don't want to say early 20s, but like the lighter 20s microns. So like maybe 20, 21, 22, 23, not in the higher up microns. So it's pretty soft. And then this just adds a little texture color-wise and feel-wise. It's super soft. So this one is made out of 75% baby alpaca and 25% silk. I know that mohair is sometimes it's a product that isn't always the best, like ethically sourced, I guess you could say. So I decided to go with this. It's also softer. I've sometimes with mohair, if it's not super soft, it can be a little itchy. I haven't really had any issues with the alpaca, and some people are allergic to mohair, so this might be a good option for them. But the Benthe sweater, I think I started back right after I finished the baby sweater, which was before April 13th. So pretty much I've gotten the whole body done, and now I'm working on the sleeves, and it has nice cabling. Sorry, I forgot the word. Cabling in it. And so that was one of the worries with this mill spun yarn, was that there were slubs and thinner areas, and I was worried it wasn't going to have very good definition for the cables in it. But so far it's doing okay. I felt like I couldn't really show you the sweater until I started some of the sleeves, so you could actually see where some of the cabling is happening, because it's mainly on the sleeves in this pattern, except for, you know, this little detail in the back here and here. But let me try and smooth this out. As you can see, it's still got pretty good cable definition here. It's been a while since I've done cables, so it's kind of like relearning cabling all over again and actually starting to understand what the pictures on the cabling chart like mean as you're going through it, so you don't have to constantly look at the cable notes to figure out if you're putting them over or under for left or right cables. So that was kind of fun. This is also the first time I've really had to do German short row shaping for shoulders. I've only done it once before for like the yoke of a sweater. So that was kind of nerve-wracking, because the first time I did German short rows, they did not come out good in a different sweater. And so I was just really worried I'd have some weird gaping happening in the cabling area. But so far it's gone really well. There's a lot of detail in the pattern itself. It's really well written out, so I highly suggest people take a look at her patterns. I haven't tried any of her other patterns, but at least for this one, you know, I was pretty intimidated by the construction of it, but as you work through it, it's pretty well written. So I would highly suggest you check it out. But yeah, so it's kind of nice. There is a slight halo effect from that alpaca Surrey alpaca mix, but it still has really nice definition. And I apologize for the lighting. We're supposed to get rain today, and so it's like in and out with the sun. But yeah, so I'm currently working on that, and so far I am enjoying it. You know, one of the techniques I do need to still learn is knitting cables without the cable needle, but until I get more comfortable with cables, I'm probably just going to use the cable needle. So it just takes a little extra time to move things around on the cable needle. But yeah, so far I've enjoyed doing this one. There is also in the body, there was the option to also do decreases and more bust shaping, but I just prefer something that isn't as snug. I'm hoping this will block out a little bit bigger, because I don't think it's negative ease at this point, but it's like really close to having some negative ease, but I think blocking will help it. And I just kind of like a cozy sweater to get ready for winter when it starts getting really cold out here in the Midwest. So yeah, that's kind of what I am currently working on. I also have another project. It's kind of just sitting in the background. It's mainly, I always got a pair of socks going, honestly. It's just in case, you know, I have to go on a trip and I don't want to lug the sweater around, then I will use that. So let me get this back in. All right, the second project that I have going, as I mentioned, is a pair of socks. So I am on the first sock still, and I'm using the Barocco Vintage Sock. 2 different colors. So this is made out of 52% acrylic, 40% wool, and 8% nylon. It's going to be hard to see the colors, but it's kind of like a dark green with purple. It kind of reminds me of like Addams Family, just Halloween-y kind of socks, kind of a deal. So I'm just striping the 2 colorways. So I start off with the green up here, and this is a 2x2 ribbing, 60 stitches on size 0 US 0 2mm needles. I do the flexi ones. I like these. I feel like I get a better tension on them, or a tighter tension I like having. You always want to kind of have negative ease on your socks so they're not sliding down all the time. And then I decided to do, and I'm not trying to make these perfect, I decided to do a basket weave heel flap, and you can see it kind of actually forgot to switch back to the green here. So there's like some varying areas, but that's that. And then I've now started kind of using a Welsh heel on my socks. I find them interesting to do. They have fun texture. I think they fit well. And I don't know if you guys are, people that will cut their yarn and then like weave in the ends, but I am extremely lazy when it comes to that. So let me try and flip this out a little bit. So I've just been carrying along the yarn on the side of, and just like kind of when you're doing interlinking color work, I think, or interlace color work, where you like kind of lock the 2 threads together. That's basically what I'm doing on the end when I'm switching colors. Is basically there's this little line going all the way down on the inside of the sock, on the side of a heel too. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, right here. Just so that I don't have to break color. And so far, I've left enough kind of just sag where it's not an issue if I want to stretch the sock a little bit. Like it still has that natural ability to stretch. And it's just going to be like a little line. So we'll see how they feel, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine. So yeah, I'm still working on the foot now, and then I'm going to do an anatomical toe, which is basically you're shaping the toe to conform to your left and right foot. So you actually have a left and right sock. So that's what I plan to do with this, but I am more focused on working on the Benthe sweater right now. So this is kind of just whenever I get around to it. But honestly, I do need to get around to my socks, and you'll see why in my acquisitions section. All right, for my acquisition section, this is probably the main reason why I did an update, even with just 2 finished projects that are pictures that you're seeing and 2 works in progress. A couple of my indie dyer yarn shops that I like to follow had the audacity, there we go, of creating some collections that I really liked and had to have some yarn from. So whatever I had plans for, reducing my stash, that has not happened because of this past yarn updates. And also in May, I went to Minnesota's Shepherd Fiber Harvest Festival, I think it is. It's basically the fiber festival that they have in May. Just kind of look that up if you're close to Minneapolis. One second. Yeah, so besides the fiber festival, 2 of my yarn dyer favorites were doing fun collections that I had a piece of, had to have a piece of yarn from, or multiple skeins from, let's just say. Yeah. Let's just say I went crazy and my bank account is crying because of it. But let's start it off with the Fiber Festival that happened in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. So there were a lot of vendors there. It was really nice. There was like 4 or 5 large barns. I'm hoping to have some footage to show for you at the very end of this whole entire update. If you got that far, awesome, thank you. But I would really highly suggest, if you're in the area, to go check it out. They had some animals there They did some shearing demonstrations. I didn't stick around for that time when they were doing the shearing demonstrations just because it seemed like it was far in between and they were just finishing shearing up a sheep. But it was nice seeing all the different breeds that they had, at least at that show. And yeah, so let's get started with what I got there. So I apologize for the crinkling. I have it in a plastic bag. I'm gonna try and go in the order of which I got them. Sorry. All right, so first off, there is this yarn from Utopia. I believe Utopia is also a mill. It feels like they're a mill because their shop area was very large. They had so many shades of different colors. Like if you wanted to do a one-stop shop area for colorwork sweaters, anything like that, like the variety and gradients of different colors that they had were amazing. And I would definitely suggest, go into them. I believe they also get all of their yarn from like within the few states around it, like fairly local wool supply for their yarn that they dye. So this one is the Utopia Wisco sock in Shady Grove color, and it is 410 yards at 113 grams with 80% superwash and 20% nylon. It is soft, nice, and next to skin soft, and I just really enjoyed this green colorway here. So that's one thing I got there. I ended up picking up, a lot of sock yarn skeins just because I could get a little bit from everybody and I like making socks. But yeah, so at the end of this video, if you're interested, I did get some footage of their stall and I'll try and label it so you know who was who. But really gorgeous selection. And they actually are a metal-free acid dyes too, so it's better for the environment and yourself, which is cool. But yeah, I kind of, for some odd reason, was really feeling the greens at this festival for some odd reason. So that was the first skein I got. And then I went to a stall called Interlacement Yarns. And there I got some roving. I know right now the Tour de Fleece is kind of happening. I completely forgot about it. I haven't done any spinning, but here is one of their new colorways that they dyed. I really liked it. It's a tweed mixture, so it's US Shanico wool, which, I've never really heard of. I've got to look it up and see if it's a breed or if it's a type of wool. But it's Shanico wool. It's nice and soft, and it's got rayon and acrylic bits, which are the tweed part. And I thought this would be kind of fun to spin up. There's 8 ounces of it, so maybe I can use it in a colorwork sweater at some point, and this would be like the fun color contrast to whatever base that I would use. But they had this there, which was absolutely gorgeous. And then they also had a big container of discounted yarns. And I'm not really into synthetic, like fully synthetic yarns, but there was this fun colorway. And it is a rayon blend, like I think it's 100% rayon. And it's about 500 yards, but I was thinking I might make my sister like a t-shirt at some point, and she doesn't like wool, so I thought this would be like a really nice kind of fun color contrast. I'll have to find a different rayon for like the main color, but I was thinking of maybe doing a color work that has dinosaurs in it. There's a couple of fun patterns. I'll try and pop them up over here on Ravelry that are just really pretty, and I think she would enjoy them because she loves dinosaurs. So that was the second thing I got from this stall. Had a pretty good discount. And then the third stall I went to and bought yarn from is Passion Yarns. And this was also in the discount section. I do like a good deal. So basically this is Yak Love, and it's a fingering weight yarn, again with greens. And it's 437 yards per 100 grams. It's 70% merino, 20% yak, and 10% nylon. And so that's one of the other skeins I got. And then the last skein I got from this fiber festival is Get Knit Faced Ink Co. But yeah, so this was one of, I think, their special colorways. It's called Experimentation. And it's 437 yards per 100 grams. It's 75% superwash wool, which they even put the microns. It was like 21.5 microns and 25% merino. It's just like this really fun, saturated skein, which would be fun for socks for sure. And the fun thing about this shop, Get Knit Faced, is that they're actually kind of run out of a mini school bus. And so they just they pack all their yarns in there. They even have little like fiber felting kits, stickers, keychains, like supplies in general. It's just all fit inside this van. I think they take it around to either their local neighborhood or festivals, and they sell their wares out of it, which is fun. I did get a few cute stickers. I didn't bother to bring them down here. I apologize, but they do have a lot of fun little knitting stickers and other stickers as well. So definitely check them out. It's probably my favorite skein at this point now, looking back at it, that I got. But yeah, so that was from the Fiber Festival. The next acquisition that I have is from the Princess Bride collection by Long Dog Yarns. And so yeah, she had a Princess Bride collection. I had to get some yarn from it. So let's see if I can pull it out. Yeah, it's a lot. So sorry for the crinkling. All right, so I decided to get a sweater's worth of this luscious alpaca DK. It's 100% baby alpaca, and it's at 246 yards for, I think, 100 grams. But the colorway is called Anybody Want a Peanut? And it's just this fun, beautiful, peanut buttery brown. So it is different from the Benthe one. It's definitely richer, more mustery. I just was really drawn to it, and it's just so soft. So I got about 6 skeins of this, so it should be enough for whatever pattern I decide to choose, or at least I have options. Because I think I tried to order a little bit more than what I was kind of looking at the time, but I can't remember what sweater pattern I was looking at that point. But should be enough to get me through whatever I decide to choose. And then I got 2 of her sock sets. So the first one is her As You Wish colorway, which this is the As You Wish colorway right there. And then I think, what is the contrasting colorway? Can't remember if this is her, like, I don't know if it's her Humperdinck colorway, but it was one of the other colorways that she had. So don't quote me on it. But yeah, no, I really think they're beautiful. It is made out of her sock yarn, which is 75% superwash merino and 25% recycled nylon. And the large skein is 100 grams, so it's 437 yards per 100 grams. I'm pretty sure this is like a 20 gram skein right there, so it's probably like around 90 something yards. But it's super nice and soft. So this was her As You Wish colorway. Beautiful purples, just all around fun. And then the second sock colorway I got was Princess Buttercup, which is this lovely pink hue variegation. And then a slightly more purple gradient, I guess. I don't know if you want to call it a gradient, but variegated yarn here. Same stats as the As You Wish. So there's these 2 nicely, curated colors. I don't know when I'm going to get this released, but it's July 6th. I think around this time was when she was going to offload some of her leftover skeins from her dyeing. So maybe there might be still some in the shop. You never know. But definitely check her out. She also has done Lord of the Rings colorways in the past and stuff like that. So those are some of her things that I had to get. I ordered back in February. They came maybe early June, late May, something like that. So it's not an instantaneous you buy, you get. She does a pre-order. And then the second indie dyer that I follow is Big Little Yarn Co., which you saw the Tanuki colorway for my Benthe sweater, but she is doing a Ghibli Club for this year. She does it in 4 quarters. So this was the quarter 2, which was April, May, and June colorways. And so they're sock sets again. So the main thing is that they were superwash cashmere sock sets. So that's 70% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 10% cashmere. I just decided to get a little treat for myself. But the large skein is 465 yards per 100 grams and 93 yards per 20 grams. That's kind of how I guesstimated the Princess one, because it didn't have yardage for that smaller skein. But let's see if I can get them in order. Okay. So here's the first one that I have, at least. So this one is Tataraba and Foundry. And this is from Princess Mononoke. This is the colorway for Princess Mononoke. Lots of pinks and greens on this one, which you'll see a trend. I think this coming quarter, there's more variation in the colors that she has for her skeins. But then there was Ponyo's one, which is Ham Ramen and Daidokoro. But this is for the Ponyo colorway scheme, but you can see somewhat similar greens and pinks again. And then the third one is Pursuit and Densha right here. And this is from Castle, or Laputa Castle in the Sky. That's where her inspiration came from. As you can see, they're all kind of in the same family a little bit. So I was thinking, if I didn't do socks with them, maybe I could use the larger skeins and maybe do some type of a fun gradient thing for like a shirt or a tank top or something like that, and just put them in. Yeah, I think that would kind of be the correct way of going about it, is like starting with this one and working its way across. But yeah, so these are the cashmeres with their little sock sets. If I did do a shirt, I'd have to figure out something for the mini skeins, but we'll get there when we get there. So that's some of the things I got from her. And then she also had another collection. I can't exactly remember what the collection was called, but these are some of her colorways that I think she's done before, and she's just redoing them for the spring. So these other 3 skeins, which I asked if she could like combine the shipping together because I ordered them at 2 different times. But with the quarter, if you order all 3 of the Miyazaki colorways, she ships them at the end of that quarter to you. So these ones were basically Superwash BFL Blue Face Leicestershire and Cordiadel DK weight skeins, and they're 50% Superwash BFL, 50% Superwash Cordiadel, and it's 246 grams per 100. 246 yards per 100 gram. And I was thinking maybe I could make some thicker socks with these. So this colorway is Lichen. Fun greens again. I enjoy the greens. And then this one is Haname, maybe that's how you say it. Not the best at pronouncing Japanese words. But it's really beautiful light color, spring. I love the blues and the peaches in there. And then for some odd reason, I was drawn to browns again. So this one is the Takenoko colorway. And it's just like a nice creamy brown, which I was thinking maybe I could use it as like the heel and cuff with the lichen. So yeah, those are the last of my acquisitions, but that was a lot to get through. So if you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all are enjoying the wonderful weather that is summer for y'all. I'm happy to be out of the Southwest, which is experiencing 111 heat already, and then it's just the beginning of June. I don't even want to know what August is going to be like. But here it's been the high 70s. There is higher humidity, but so far it hasn't been bad. But then again, I haven't been out field inspecting yet. We'll see. But it's just definitely a nice change. So let me know if you guys have been not holding yourself to your no buying yarn rule this year. I know I definitely haven't been holding myself to that at this point. Let's just give up for this year, maybe. What are you guys working on? Are you working on hot sweaters to maybe, be ready for winter? Are you working on summer tops? I hope you all are doing well, are healthy, and as always, stay crafty out there. Thanks for watching. Bye. Hey, sorry, I lied. I am back really quick. I forgot about future projects, but basically I am working on the Benthe sweater, and I am still interested in doing the Krisanteema. I still think about what I want to do with all this other yarn, but of course socks are always on that list. So that is the end, I promise. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.